It's been another difficult year for the Panthers, and a summer of turnover in Nottingham. And General Manager Omar Pasha is likely starting to feel the heat. A new coach, and a largely new team, the Panthers nation are hopeful. Danny Stewart divided the fanbase, but above anything, the Panthers need a consistent presence behind the bench. Stewart should provide that, for at least a few years here. After the events of last season, many of the team have understandably opted to move on, but there are a few fan favorites returning. The goal of this season is simple. Stabilize the ship. Be competitive night in, and night out. And begin building the Danny Stewart era of Panthers hockey. A top 5 league standing, and deep runs in the cup and playoffs would be solid aspirations for the team this year. Is it achievable? To find out, let's take a look at the roster that has been assembled. In net, they are opting for a bit of a tandem goalie duo. But Ryan Bednard will get the nod as the 1A option. At age 27 he already comes with a wealth of experience. 18 games played at the American League level, and 151 games in the East Coast, both with an average save percentage of 91%. He had a good year last season, with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, with a record of 20 wins and 12 losses, and a 2.91 goals against average. Standing at 6'5", he will fill the net, and Danny Stewart spoke on his mobility. If they play well in front of him, he could be an excellent goalie in this league. Hunter Vorva will play as the 1B goaltender, perhaps getting some of the lesser opposition, or starting on the second game of a back-to-back. He doesn't have the same level of experience or pedigree as Bednard, but last season in the East Coast League, you could argue outperformed Bednard. Vorva closed out the year with a 92 save percentage, and just a 2.51 goals against average. He comes on the smaller side, but Stewart spoke about his tenacity and compete level. This is a guy who will fight for pucks and ice time. Lucas Sheldon returns as the third goalie. Due to the import numbers, Sheldon will likely be on the bench each night to make the roster numbers work. He is a guy I hope gets a shot at some game time, for his development. I do worry a lot of GB netminders are getting stuck on benches to make the numbers work. Overall, goaltending looks solid, but it does largely depend how the team plays in front of them, in particular the blue line. Let's take a look. Cooper Tsesh was their top defensive signing of the offseason. He has the skill set to be a real special player in this league. Described as an offensive defenseman, with a high level of mobility. That gives them a clear-cut number 1 powerplay blue liner. They get him at a really good age, at just 25, as he moves into his prime years. And although he is young, he has a wealth of experience, with 148 games played in the American Hockey League, producing 7 goals, and 40 points, an A+9 rating. He is an explosive skater that can create chances from nothing. Paired with him, I have Matt Spencer. The oldest member of the blue line at 27, they have done a great job getting guys in their prime years. He played a big role last year, in helping Zondajisk to a Danish championship. He is excellent defensively, but plays with a high IQ, making great first passes out the zone, and moving the puck in transition. He will play big minutes, and likely see a lot of time on special teams. He plays a style which will allow Tsesh to play his game to the full, with great defensive coverage, and breakout plays to move up the ice. Quinn Wichers will likely be on the second pairing, and was the last signing to the team. The first thing you notice when looking at Wichers, is his size. 6'4", 216 pounds. And he plays a tough defensive style of hockey. He is going to factor in heavily on the penalty kill, and 5-on-5 defensive responsibilities. And he is going to make life difficult for the opposition to break through. Rounding out the top 4 is Davis Bunz. I think Bunz is going to have a bit of a breakout year with the Panthers. Age 25 puts him in a good spot to take another step, and for me he is likely their second power play option. He had really low production through juniors, as he played a very defensive role, but his 2 years as a pro with the Wheeling Nailers saw him put up 54 points in 116 games, including 13 goals. And last season in the playoffs posting 2 goals and 5 points in 9 games. Through his career, you can see he can play whatever style is needed, and he comes to the black and gold as a real two-way defender, looking to make a splash. Josh Tetlow is the Brit presence on the blue line. He will be on the third pair, and play his defensive game. We know what to expect with Tetlow at this point. He brings size and physicality to the back end, in what looks to be a pretty big defensive core already. For me personally, I would have kept Hazeldine over Tetlow, but Tets for sure brings a style that can be useful. They will need him to take another step this year. Jaakko Niskala rounds out the defensive group. He is another well-sized defender, at 6'2", who skates well, mainly a defensive presence. He is a product of the Finnish Liga and Mestis leagues. Those leagues produce guys that compete and defend well. After signing him, Danny Stewart said of Niskala, "He's a very solid defender, that moves the puck well, and pays the price in his own end. Not afraid to compete in hard areas, and put his body on the line to block shots." Paired with Tetlo, they could form a decent shutdown pair. When looking at the defensive core as a whole, I think they have done a solid job. Offensive guys like Sesh and Bunn should make the power play tick. You have two-way guys like Spencer and Wichers. And defensive guys like Niskala and Tetlo. It's a well-rounded group. All I would say is they should have kept Hazeldine in my opinion. Now let's look at this forward group. Sam Hare is of course the star signing of the forward group. And by the sounds of it, Omar Pasha was down on his knees begging him to return. It's been a while since the Panthers had such an impact signing, and it's a lot for him to live up to. In his last term with the Panthers, Hare put up 36 goals and 76 points in 58 games. And since then, he has had a number of successful seasons in the Del 2, including a championship, where he has been around a point per game. He is a goal scorer through and through, and should easily put up 30 goals plus. My question is, will he return as the captain once again? I have Tim Doherty as the top line center. I know a lot of people are putting Kontos here, and it likely happens that way, but for me I'm looking at what would make the best top 9, not just top line. Doherty is an excellent playmaker, who possesses great passing ability. If you look through his career, he has excelled when paired with goal scorers. In the 22-23 season, he had an incredible 52 assists in 69 games in the East Coast League. This is a guy who could get to 50 assists again, provided you pair him with the right guys. In my opinion, that's Sam Hare and Hugo Roy. Hugo Roy completes the top line for me. He can play center and wing, which gives them some good options. He played alongside Otto for much of last season, so I could see him on the second line, with Nielsen moved up. But with his shooting ability, I think he will really suit playing alongside Hare and Doherty. Guys that can make plays, and find him in time and space. Roy put up 51 points in 59 games last season, and this year I think he could get to a point per game player. Otto Nieminen is back, and with the return of Hare, I don't see him on that top line. But he will be an excellent second line left winger. Otto is a guy who embraced being a Panther. In fact, he was the first guy to re-sign. The season barely ended, and he signed up for another year. He led the team in scoring last season, 27 goals, 56 points, in 59 games. Not far off a point per game. And you can see his tenacity on the ice, hunting for pucks, and always willing to take a shot. He is primed for a big year. Christoph Kontos is the wild card of the top 6. Many have him as the top line center, which could be very likely. He looks to be a really well-rounded player. He can pass, and make plays, score goals, and is good on both sides of the puck. He has had some great seasons in Sweden and Slovakia in recent years, and could produce at a high level for them. I just wonder what his ceiling is with the Panthers. Logan Nielsen completes the top 6. Last season down the stretch, when given a top 6 spot, he was one of their best forwards. He had 13 points in the final 11 games last season, 8 of which were goals. Now we have seen what he can do given the runway. I expect he will be put in a position to succeed. At 6'5", 201 pounds, he will also bring a physical presence to this line. I really like this second line, it has a bit of everything to it. Reed Stephenson is on the third line left wing. He can play center as well, which gives the Panthers some real depth down the middle. He has had a strong couple of seasons in Maine, posting a 0.73 points per game, in a very comparable league. He played alongside Doherty previously, so I can see the arguments for Doherty moving down to renew this chemistry. Stewart spoke on the versatility of Stephenson, saying they liked his grit above all, and his 200-foot game. Matt Alfaro comes across as a power forward type. He can play up and down the ice, but plays with a physical edge, using his body to separate guys from pucks. Last season, he was above 60% on faceoffs, something the coach really valued. He has played 70 games in the American League in recent history, producing 20 points. And in the East Coast League put up 70 points in 88 games. He seems like the perfect third-line center to me. Physical, responsible, good on faceoffs, experienced. What's not to like? Diedrich Henbrand is back to round out the top 9. He is a guy that can thrive further down the lineup. He can play top line minutes or a depth role. The thing I love about his game is his smooth skating ability and his speed. He produces plenty off the rush and in transition. I like him in a third line role because he can create offense himself. If he played top line minutes or third line minutes, he likely scores about the same. He put up 40 points in 58 games last season, which is about right for him. I could see a slight improvement, but he is just a great all-round player who pushes the pace. Adam Berg is going to be a role player on this team. He is another guy with good size, and Danny Stewart keyed in on his work rate and his ability to do the little things, to be a hard player to play against. He should be a checking forward on the fourth line, and a guy that when injuries occur you don't mind playing third line minutes at times. Jordan Kelsel is the Swiss Army knife for this team. He can play all forward positions, and can even jump onto the blue line when called upon. I thought his game took a big step last season. He started throwing the body, and playing with a real physical edge. I love his compete level, and he is a real asset in this forward group. Completing the forward group is Ollie Betteridge. I wonder if he will be in the running for captaincy? For years I have been saying there is more offense to be unlocked in his game, but at 28 years old, we know who he is. A passionate, hard-working forward who plays penalty kill minutes and can step up and score around 10 goals a year. He is a leader on this team, and I really hope he gets the C. So that's the team as we open the 2024-25 season. My overall thoughts are positive. For me, there is no reason this team shouldn't be able to place 4th or 5th in the league. I like their goaltending situation, but the team has to play well in front of them. Their D-core looks strong, particularly their top 4. I do wonder if they have enough puck-moving ability on that third pair though. When it comes to the forward group, I really like their depth. They can roll 4 strong lines. My only worry is the top-end talent. Can Hare replicate his first season? Do they have forwards that can match Shinkaruk and O'Brien in Cardiff? Balmus and Watling in Sheffield? Conway and Picnic in Belfast? Even a Tedesco, Tate or Ferguson in Guildford? Overall, I think they will be in a fight with the Clan and Flames for that 4th place in the league. But what do you think? How does this roster look to you? What do you like or dislike? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, take care.